Today's story is told in both Matthew 15 and Mark 7, where Jesus encounters a Canaanite woman. Well, in Matthew, she's called a Canaanite woman, but in Mark, he refers to her as a Greek and a Syro-Phoenician. Now, all those titles are correct. Her title in Matthew as a Canaanite tells of her heritage or her culture. She was a Canaanite woman, which meant she probably worshipped many gods and not the God of Israel. Now, her title in Mark as a Greek indicates that she was, again, non-Jewish in both religion and language. So what about her title as a Syro-Phoenician? At the time of Jesus, the southern part of the province of Syria was under Roman control. So people referred to that region as Phoenician Syria, which is why Mark describes this woman as a Syro-Phoenician. She was a Greek-speaking woman who was Syro-Phoenician by race and lived in a culture of Canaanites, which worshipped multiple gods. Now look, here's the point of all this. The writers were basically trying to help us understand that this woman is a Gentile. She is absolutely not Jewish. She is a pagan living in a pagan culture, and she's considered an enemy of Israel. And yet, Jesus travels to her region. It appears he's traveled to Tyre to get away from all the activity around Galilee regarding his ministry. The text says he enters a private house, not a synagogue. And the text also says that he did not want anyone to know, yet he could not be hidden. So here is Jesus with his disciples in a private house, and this woman appears. And this woman is screaming, she's crying, and she comes to Jesus and says, "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely depressed by a demon." Now, don't you find it interesting that this woman, a Gentile, who's considered an enemy of Israel, notices Jesus and knows who he is? She identifies him as the Messiah to the Jews when she addressed him as Son of David. You see, this was a title reserved for the Jewish Messiah. But this woman, she's a pagan, a Gentile, and yet she identifies Jesus as the one. But Jesus, he doesn't answer her. Has Jesus ever been silent when you've come to him crying, begging? You know, many of us, before we became believers, probably had even cried out to God, wanting to hear from him, hoping to hear from him about our current situation. But here, Jesus says nothing. Now, his disciples step up and they begin begging too. "Send her away, for she is crying out after us." You know, it's doubtful that the disciples really expected Jesus to heal the daughter. They just wanted Jesus to get rid of this screaming, crying woman. The woman was annoying the disciples. The men that Jesus was training up to turn the world upside down are begging for relief from this screaming, crying woman. Isn't it interesting that even in the presence of the Messiah, the disciples would reject this woman and beg Jesus to send her away? They didn't ask Jesus, "What should we do?" or wait patiently to see how Jesus would respond. They knew how to take action. Send her away. You know, needy people can be so demanding, right? I'm sure that's what they thought. But no one expected Jesus' reply. Jesus said, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Now, we don't know if Jesus spoke this directly to the woman or to his disciples. He was just plainly stating his mission, which was to preach the gospel to the children of Israel. Jesus was God's fulfillment of his promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And ultimately, he fulfills God's promises to the children of Israel. Now, this woman is persistent, and she says, "Lord, help me." And then Jesus says something that kind of sounds strange to us. He says, "Let the children be fed first. It is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." Now, notice Jesus says first, but not only. He implies that the children and the dogs are all in the same house. They all have a place in the affairs of the household. By using the word first, Jesus reveals that while there was a redemptive priority for the Jews, the blessings of heaven did not exclusively belong to them. The woman replies, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs that fall from their master's table." Now when Jesus heard her reply, he told her, "O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire. For this statement, you may go your way. The demon has left your daughter." Jesus healed her daughter instantly because of her faith expressed in her thoughtful exchange with Jesus. The Lord granted her request for a miracle. This story paints a beautiful picture of how Jesus came first to the Jews and then to the Gentiles. God's blessings are first for the Jews, but also for the Gentiles. But don't think God is just giving us the crumbs. Oh no, that's not the picture. This story shows us how our faith in the Son of David, the Messiah of Israel, the Jewish Messiah, provides blessing and healing in our lives, even though we are Gentiles. It is because of our faith in Jesus, not our lineage or our religion or our culture, that we enter the kingdom of heaven and receive blessing and spiritual healing. It is purely because of faith. May each of us hear the same words this woman heard from Jesus. "O woman," or man, "great is your faith."